The president tweeted out the following about the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Things are apparently not going real well with Zelensky. They're just a tad frustrated with him. They're frustrated with Putin, too, but they're really frustrated with Zelensky. But he wrote on, I suppose this is on Truth Social, or I don't know, maybe Twitter as well. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy is boasting on the front page of the Wall Street Journal that Ukraine will not legally recognize the occupation of Crimea. There's nothing to talk about here. This statement is very harmful to the peace negotiations with Russia, in that Crimea was lost years ago under the auspices of President Barack Hussein Obama. I love that he did the full name, because that's verboten, as everybody knows.
Yep.
For some reason, it's his name.
Right.
But you can't say it.
Right.
Okay. All right. And is not even a point of discussion. Nobody is asking Zelensky to recognize Crimea as Russian territory, but if he wants Crimea, why didn't they fight for it 11 years ago when it was handed over to Russia without a shot being fired? The area also houses, for many years before the Obama handover, major Russian submarine bases. It's inflammatory statements like Zelensky's that make it so difficult to settle this war. He has nothing to boast about. The situation for Ukraine is dire. He can have peace, or he can fight for another 3 years before losing the whole country. I have nothing to do with Russia, but have much to do with wanting to save, on average, 5,000 Russian and Ukrainian soldiers a week who are dying for no reason whatsoever. The statement made by Zelensky today will do nothing but prolong the killing field, and nobody wants that. We're very close to a deal, but the man with no cards to play should now finally get it done. I look forward to being able to help Ukraine and Russia get out of this complete and total mess that would have never started if I were president.
You got no cards.
Nope. Mm-hmm. And he has said that multiple times. So, who knows? It just doesn't seem to be registering with Zelensky, though. Stop making this so difficult.
Yeah, big attack on Kyiv just last night, as a matter of fact. Yep.
And J.D. Vance had this to say on the diplomatic front.
We've issued a very explicit proposal to both the Russians and the Ukrainians, and it's time for them to either say yes or for the United States to walk away from this process. We've engaged in an extraordinary amount of diplomacy, of on-the-ground work. We've really tried to understand things from the perspective of both the Ukrainians and the Russians. What do Ukrainians care the most about? What do the Russians care the most about? And I think that we've put together a very fair proposal. We're going to see if the Europeans, the Russians, and the Ukrainians are ultimately able to get this thing over the finish line. Again, I feel pretty optimistic about it. I think everybody has been negotiating in good faith, but it's now time, I think, to take, if not the final step, one of the final steps, which is at a broad level, the parties saying, we're going to stop the killing, we're going to freeze the territorial lines at some level close to where they are today, and we're going to actually put in place the kind of long-term diplomatic settlement that hopefully will lead to long-term peace.
I don't know. I mean, these wars, they can't be won. They just promise to go on and on and on. I mean, Muse said it 15 years ago. It's still true today. It's probably truer than it was then even. And I don't know. There are factions who want the war to go on and on and on. I don't know that Zelensky is one of them. But somebody's making money here. And it doesn't even take a hole in the sky where the tree once was. Somebody is making money on this war.
Maybe we'll find out who's making the money, because Ben Shapiro sat down with Zelensky and posted this video.
Oh, all right.
All working? Yes?
Yes, all good.
Action.
I want to start by asking you about the meeting that you had in the Oval Office. How do you feel that you could have handled things better with the president and vice president?
The meeting in the Oval Office, it did not help Ukraine.
You spent nearly $200 billion to the defense of Ukraine. There are lots of questions about where the money is going.
There's nothing to hide. We're absolutely open.
Would an audit be possible by the United States of where those dollars are going?
We are kind of the living shield against Russia's invasion to the civilized world.
I want to get to Russia's intentions and the possibilities of a ceasefire. Americans have questions about things that are happening here.
The drop drops today. Let's see if we find out.
All right, so we've got Trump on Glenn's show and Zelensky with Shapiro. Cool. Let's see if maybe between the two interviews they can finally work this thing out.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe that's what this is all about. They're just waiting till both interviews air, and then we'll settle it. So
What a mess.
it is such a mess. And, there's over 1 million people who have died as a result of this mess. So it's really critical to put a stop to it. I don't know how Russia thinks that this is a war that they really believed was going to be over in 14 days. 2 weeks tops. We're done with this thing. We take over Ukraine. We bring it back into the fold. Here we are over 3 years later, and they've lost hundreds of thousands of people. And that's the case on both sides. Mm-hmm. So I would think that both sides would be pretty motivated. First of all, Russia's humiliated in this thing. Even if they eventually win it, I mean, really? It took you this long?
It's like a 3-year Maginot Line, man.
Yeah, it's incredible.